Item number 3. Let's see here. We skipped down to number 3, Sky Castle Aviation Agreement. Thank you to Paul and Tom for working with Sky Castle.
Mostly Paul.
And so
credit where credit's due.
We don't have anything to approve tonight, but this is just an update on the direction and the key concepts. The city attorney is working on an agreement to incorporate these key concepts. And so what this does is it takes the manager's agreement and is reflective of the City of Newcastle Board of Aviation owning all of the property. And so the agreement needs to reflect that change in ownership and the responsibilities, and also some payment terms. So I guess the question here is the board okay with the direction we're going? We'll bring back a document for you to approve officially. And I won't bring it back until the other side has approved it. There's no sense of us.
Yeah.
But at least conceptually, wanted to get this in front of you, and thanks for sending this to me, Paul. I
Yeah.
missed it.
Yeah, I looked through it and I don't have any suggested changes in anything in there.
The amount per gallon on the flow fee, is that sort of what?
That reflects everything I've looked at.
Okay. I think they have a little lower price deal with IU Health, which
That's
is,
not uncommon for
Yeah.
airports if they've got a major customer to give them some kind of break a little bit.
and then I didn't know about we just sort of picked the percentage for the billing of the hangars and letting them take a 10% cut on that for doing the billing and collection of it, I guess. Seemed reasonable to me, but
And the intensity of maintenance that that they take care of.
yeah. Careful.
Well, hearing no concerns, we'll move on. And like I said, Joel's working on an agreement. Once that's done, I'll probably send it simultaneously to Sky Castle, their attorney, and I'll send it to you all. That way we can look at it in parallel with one another. And then hopefully at a future board meeting, in the not so distant future, we can approve that. I did add the buildings to the city's insurance. I worked with McGowan, and
They would actually insure the hangars?
I think they already did.
I sent the request.
They insure the Little League dugouts, so they might as well insure the hangars.
The other thing I wanted to just check with is we didn't put any rent down for use of that building or anything, and I just want to make sure everybody's okay with that, so, all right. All right, good.
What's your pleasure on the meeting minutes? They were distributed via email, and then you have a paper copy in front of you.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Items 5 and 6 on the agenda. It is a long list of things. I'd be happy to pull any of this up, and I could display it on the screen if you have questions. Nikki completed the annual reports ending 9/30/25, and the reason why it's ending 9/30/25 is that's the federal fiscal year. And they were submitted under my signature on December 9th. We also sent a request to the FAA to carry over funding. That was dated February 9th, 2026. And then there is a long list of invoices and pay applications. I do want to spend a little bit of time on 6F. And I want to refer to the email. And the email is double-sided, it's printed double-sided. So we bought the property, right? I mean, you all know that. So the FAA, we utilized 2 grants, and that is IIJA 28 and AIP 29. And the federal share, the amount that we could claim at this point in time was a little over $1 million. And then the total purchase price for the land was 1.189642. And so the city, out of the aviation fund, wrote a check for $177,931.04. So you take the $177,931 and you add it to the federal, and that allowed us to purchase the property and close on it before the end of the year, or before January 1st. Typically there is a state match in there, and we were moving too fast for the state. In our desire to close on the property prior to 12/31/25. So the city took care of its share, the local share, and the state share. And so we're going to be reimbursed a portion of that. But I wanted to clarify how we structured that transaction.
And I submitted those requests today to the state.
State share is about half of that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Let me see. The state share. Let's see.
I can pull it up.
I think I have. Oh, that's not all of it. Let me see, because I have to. We'll have to split it in between like separate pay requests, but I have a summary I can pull up.
That's what I'm pulling up.
Okay. I was gonna say, I did like a breakdown with everything all together when I submitted the pay requests of what the current pay requests are and the future.
Oh, you're not going to be able to see it. That's sad.
Do you want me to pass my computer around?
No, I can read it.
Okay.
We're going to get about $26,000 back.
Okay.
And then we're gonna get additional reimbursement from the feds as well, not related to the purchase, but for all the stuff that we did in advance. Like the survey and the appraisals, those will come back to us.
It looks like it'll be about, like when you include the previous costs, about $29,579.
Okay. Our share in the purchase, yeah, that's too difficult for me to do. I'm sorry.
Here, I can grab it if you want.
Fine.
Any questions on the list of 5 and 6?
2025 AWAS. Is Is that,
Yeah, they finally
Okay.
sent us an invoice.
all right.
They finally called. So we paid it. Could I have a motion, please, on items 5 and 6?
I may move we pay the invoices for 5 and 6.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Listing the fund balance there as of February 13th, 2026 at 57.6. That's lower than anticipated because of the land acquisition. But the money will trickle in and then we'll get a tax draw in June. Nikki?
All right. So the first section, we can go ahead and skip over that. That just goes over the grant administration items that Corey had mentioned. And one thing that he did say was NDOT, they recently went to the Black Cat system. And so we had a lot of the previous payment requests, we had submitted them on the federal side, but we had to hold off until the state system was up and running. And so now we've gone through, I went through and submitted all of those today. I think there was 8 in total. So it'll probably be like over the next, I would say like 2 to 3 weeks. Hopefully those will start trickling in as they get reviewed. And the way the process is going to work, previously, Corey, I had you sign a document, like a state form that I would submit, but now the state, after we get the federal, I'm supposed to upload it in the system. They go through, they verify, and then they'll send out a form that then Corey will sign. So it's a little bit just a reorder of the process, but essentially the same thing. And the form that you'll be getting will look different. It'll look more like an invoice.
So that'll come from you.
NDOT, I think is going to, my understanding is that they'll send it to me.
Okay.
Yes. But, because that's what, I talked to NDOT the other day and they said that they saw that, they called me because they said that they saw that I had been like, submitting reviews. And I had initially started to generate those forms because I thought that I was supposed to generate them. And they said, no, we'll go through verify and then we'll generate them and send them out to you.
Okay.
So it made it sound like they're sending it to me and then I can pass it on to you.
Okay.
So if I know that NDOT is at a conference this week. So if I don't hear anything on at least one of them or something come probably like middle to end next week, I'm just going to reach out and make sure that they will be sending it to me and what's going on there. So task order number 1, the ALP update and narrative report. I sent out to Corey and he distributed it to the board, the ALP drawing set and working paper that we completed. We had sent it to NDOT, the drawing set, a while back. NDOT had already done preliminary comments and review of that, and we've addressed that, so it's gone through the initial review. But we need to have the board's review and approval before we submit it to FAA. So once you've had that opportunity, we can get that sent to FAA. And then the only other remaining piece is just wrapping up the financial plan. I had been waiting on some cost estimates, which I have. I just finished reviewing those this past week. So we're doing the final touches on the working paper. And so that'll be out to you guys in the next couple of weeks, which will wrap up the project. The next.
But we can still tweak that, right? I mean, we can still change it after. We just need to
Yeah.
get submitted.
Yeah, so what'll happen is with the ALP, once we submit that to the FAA, it'll take a little bit for it to go under their review and approval. They may or may not have comments. They typically have comments or questions of some sort, and we'll go through, we finish addressing that, and then once the FAA approves it, then that is the document that we kind of live by for a while. And then if there's any if you guys undergo any kind of acquisition projects again, or if there's anything that's built, like any hangars or anything like that, we would do like a pen and ink change to update that ALP.
Okay.
So the next task order for the Taxiway Alpha 2 rehab, Resource International went out to the airport this month and completed the geotech survey. And Apex Survey, they're the ones that'll be doing the soil borings. They're scheduled to go out, it looks like the first week of March, so sometime next week. I'm waiting to hear if that's confirmed. Last I heard a couple weeks ago, that was still the plan, and I had let John know that as well. So I'm in contact with him. So we're still following in line with that preliminary schedule that you see on that paper. Was there any questions so far? Am I good? All right, hearing none. The last order of business that I had was the general services contract. That's the contract that we typically that CHA performs, any kind of grant administration. We had been doing the DBE and just any of the requests or anything that we do with the board that don't necessarily fall under a specific task order. The current contract, we had expended all of the funds, and so I was proposing if you guys were interested in having another general services task order put in place. So I brought a copy. It's actually the one you guys put your numbers on the backup. If you guys wanted to take a look, the language is the same as what the previous two task orders had been. And I kept with the fund with the we had done them previously at 30,000, where anything that we do it would never exceed that 30,000. We'd have to get the new contract, and any work that we perform is approved by you before we do that work on an hourly basis. And there's the rate. I included the rates table in there too.
We need that, I mean, every year to move forward, don't we? I mean, we really don't have much of a choice, but,
Well, you guys we can talk, because like if you guys don't want, like right now we've just kind of the last two had it where we had like a $30,000 placeholder. If you guys wanted to like take that down or adjust that, like we can do that too. And then so just options, whatever you guys need.
Was that adequate for this year?
Yeah, and actually, see, we came on, I'm trying to think, I think was it in 22 or 23? I think 2022. And we've had two, so this is our third one. So from like that November of 2022 till now, we used like the 60,000. So it lasted for about 3.5 years. A little over 3 years. So this one will probably run through at least this year and probably into next year. It just kind of depends on what the requests all are.
so to his second part of his question, would 30,000 be adequate for?
I think it's adequate still.
We can always adjust it if we're.
Yeah.
Based on those hourly rates, right?
Yes. And it's not for a certain time period, the task order. So if it takes a year to go through it, or if it takes 2 or 3 years to go through it, like I said, any of the work that we do, it's like at your request, and I can try to kind of give you guys, and one thing that I've not done in the past that I probably should do is like when you guys give me a request, say here's about how long it'll take, that way you guys can approve it, but it's essentially what we've been doing all along.
Does that need a motion? Is that?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Paul makes a motion to authorize or approve task order number 8.
A second.
And I've got a second from Don. Let me jot this down.
Thank you.
Any further questions or conversation? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
All All right. Oh, thank you. And then Corey, I gave you a copy to sign as well. The last thing, this isn't anything that requires action. It's just information. So I went to an Aviation Indiana quarterly meeting, which was also like a legislative day at the State House earlier this month. And one of the speakers was with the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, so IDEM. And one of the focuses of that conversation was on fuel farms, and specifically the underground storage tanks, or what they call the USTs. I wasn't sure, and you guys, I don't know if you know, or if those are registered currently or not. What I was looking at, I wasn't finding anything registered, but I didn't know you guys may have something more up to date. Because I was going to, I can look at and make sure before I make like a formal suggestion, but I was looking into what the benefits may be if you guys do register those. But I want to make sure I paint the full picture before, like you as a board come to a decision. But with the registering of them, IDEM right now has a funding resources available that if you have a tank, it has to, and it's been previously registered, and you suddenly have any kind of leaks, or you need, if there's anything that comes out of that, if you have to do any repair or any of those ramifications, they have a funding pool that you can apply for and get up to like a 50% reimbursement, but you have to have had the tanks pre-registered. So now that you guys are the owners of the tanks, like I said, I can look into what all that entails, and make sure that you guys wouldn't, like, if there's no negatives to it, but paint that picture. That way, if there is something that were to happen, maybe you guys could have some extra funding coming in to help cover those costs. And then I also know that in the future, if you ever were to go to above ground storage tanks, if those underground storage tanks are registered, there's also some funding opportunities there as well through IDEM. So I'm looking into some of that right now. That's my homework.
Dealing with the state, dealing with the federal government.
Yeah.
I don't mind being registered with them, but then are they going to say, well, we're going to come out and do a yearly inspection, and if we have a
And that's
yearly inspection, and
right.
then are they going to say, well, you've got to do this? You gotta do,
Yeah.
will it allow them to dictate what cleanup is, or what?
And that's what I'm not sure of. That's why I said before this is something like a new, like I said, funding opportunity that I just had heard about. I hadn't heard of it prior. It's fairly new. So I just kind of wanted to just bring it to the board's attention, let you know it's something that I'm kind of looking into. But like I said, looking at what those pros and cons are, that way you guys know the full story. So like you said, you're not getting into something that you're not wanting to, but that we're painting the picture, and that we're also making sure that if there are any federal guidelines in place for the operating of those, that we're also meeting those as well.
Well, the 50% sounds good, you know, if we ever need to do that, but
It really is a
Right.
help and not a
Right.
yeah, but we got to pay the price up until
Yeah,
then.
so that's what
Yearly.
I'm looking into. I'll keep you posted. I'll look to have more information before the next board meeting and send it out
So I doubt if
and just kind of see.
the previous owners have ever, I have no idea. I mean,
I don't know if they've ever been registered anyway, but every once in a while I've heard John say something about they inspected them.
yeah.
But I don't know who they is,
I
Yeah.
don't either.
and I don't know what they inspected them for.
yeah.
And I don't know if it was, I know that they had never had a measurement inspection for pumping fuel.
Probably good if
Ever.
we had all kinds of information
Yeah.
on those.
That's
I
what
mean,
I-
You mean amount?
like to
They just
look
did.
into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
They never did before,
That was the first one. Oh.
because everybody around here was, what's going on? Because I had a long conversation with the weights and measures guy before that, before they ever did that. Because the state had called him saying, we don't have any records of us ever doing any measurements out there. Fortunately, everything was just fine.
Yeah, they were dead on.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
and the reason they were dead on, because it was old equipment.
I think we'd like a lot of information. I
Okay.
don't want to commit ourselves to anything yet. But
Right,
think
I agree.
It'd be good to look
You can't
into.
find them registered. You've
I have not found anything
Okay.
yet with them being registered. The only thing that I found, there were some old storage tanks out there, and I found a listing of where they had been deregistered
Right.
and
when they- that's-
decommissioned, but I didn't find anything.
That was
but-
probably when they put the new ones in. Took the old ones out and put the new ones in.
Anybody have any idea what year that was? How long ago was that?
I think that it was like 70s or 80s.
Something like that.
But I wasn't
Long
sure.
time ago.
I wasn't sure. I don't know if the date that I was looking at was an installation date or a decommissioning date.
Oh, check it out for us.
Yep, that's what I have.
Anonymously.
That's why I just kind of wanted, like I said, do what?
Anonymously.
But yeah, that's what like I said, it just kind of came to my attention, and
Don't
I
use our names.
jotted it down. Yeah, no, I will. I
She's got
will.
our
A friend
numbers
wants
now.
to know. A friend, an inquiring friend. You're asking for a friend.
Yeah, no, they have. When I was at the Aviation
Nothing
Indiana,
very
they provided some resources. I just haven't really dug into those yet. Like I said, it just kind of hit my radar, and that's what I put for my homework. But I just wanted to at least bring it to your attention that I'm looking into that, and we'll see. And they may end up talking about it more too. I go to all the Aviation Indiana quarterly meetings, so I noted that on here, the Aviation Indiana. So like I said, we meet quarterly, and there's a lot of different kind of groups of people that come to this. So you'll have
Good.
NDOT and things like that. So if there's ever a question or anything that the board has, it gives me a chance to get in front of people and I can ask those questions, but without having to have your name in those conversations.
Good girl. Good.
And then the last thing that I had, we had 2 invoices. One was for the ALP updated narrative report, and that is under grant with a 90% federal, 5% state, 5% local match. And I did prepare a payment request, but I forgot to print it off and bring it with me. And then there's also, you'll see the General Services Contract number 2. There's an invoice number 8. We had actually, you'll see I made a note that that's an updated invoice. We had invoiced it, and I realized that we had actually like over invoiced because where we had hit that 30,000, and so we ended up backing down. So this invoice is actually less than what we had sent before, and it had not been paid yet. So
Thank you. Okay. So the 4202 is what's due, or the total.
so-
the 11,671 is what's
the
due.
11,671. So we had one general service contract invoice number 7 had not. It wasn't showing in the system unless it's come in last couple days. It was still showing unpaid, and then it was invoice number 8 that we had previously submitted that we backed down.
So I'm trying to match up the
Okay.
chart with your invoices.
Did I mark them correctly? Okay, so the first one, the one that's on the back of the colorful sheet, that is the first one that you see for the ALP update and
So
their
that-
report number
That
16.
will be with the pay request.
That's the one with the current pay request. The next invoice, it's dated February 18th, and then it says invoice number 92406-08. That's the one that has been updated.
So it's 529,
21,
21,
yes. So that's
and
less
then
than what
we-
it had previously been. And then there's an outstanding invoice that you'll see it at the bottom of it.
but it's also attached here too, right? 4202?
Yes. Yeah, I went ahead and I included it. So that's where this outstanding
Gotcha.
is. So that one, and I put right there, previously submitted.
Okay. So there's really 2 invoices here.
Yes. There's 2 new invoices, but
Okay.
one of them, like I said, isn't really like brand new. It's
So 4731.32, $4,731.32, all local. And then the ALP is
that one is the
federal,
grant,
state,
yes.
local.
Mhm.
Okay,
Correct.
all right.
sorry, I made that more confusing.
Is there a motion for these invoices?
I'll make a motion to approve the invoices submitted by CHA.
Second.
Motion by Paul, second by Tom. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Nothing further from me.
Any other business to come before the commission? All right, we're adjourned.